Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio, and I said in my earlier video that today is a good day because we've got a new GX to talk about. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we also have a new Prism Star to talk about. Today is a wonderful day, so let's have a look at Volcanion Prism Star. Now, not unlike Greninja GX that we looked at earlier, it is a water Pokemon. It means it can be searched out very easily with Brooklet Hill, and actually being a basic Pokemon means Brooklet Hill says, hey, just grab it and put it on your bench, you're good. It does also mean you have access to Aqua Patch to accelerate energy, which is pretty nice, and you are hitting weakness on Volcanion, which could be very relevant if metal Pokemon continue to get as big as it looks like they might be getting. 160 HP is pretty high for a basic single prize Pokemon, but then again, you know, it's a Prism Star. They all have 160 HP, like all of them. It's a bit weird at this stage. Retreat cost to free is very high, but then again, you do get to use Heavy Ball, so it could be a little bit worse. And the weakness to lightning is actually pretty good. A lot of these water Pokemon are weak to grass, and I'm saying, but Golisopod's really good at the moment. It's winning tournaments left, right, and centre. That sucks. Well, the great news is that being weak to lightning, there's not really anything relevant hitting you for weakness at the moment. Like, about the worst thing that's hitting you for weakness is the promo Tapu Koko. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? The promo Tapu Koko hits you for 40, including weakness, because you're not a GX, which means they can't use Choice Band. Now, I think the real headline here for Volcanion Prism Star is the ability. Once during your turn, you may discard a water energy from your hand, and then your opponent has to change their active Pokemon. Now, again, like we said with Greninja earlier, it is very important about the translation for this, but Rappelmann TCG, the lovely David Hockman himself, he's got the translation here and it seems correct. It seems to be that your opponent chooses which Pokemon they switch into. To put it another way, it is a repel, it is not a Pokemon catcher. Now obviously that's not quite as good. If it could be just you pick one of your opponent's Pokemon to drag active, that would be amazing, but this is still a pretty nice ability. Some of you, like myself, may well remember Regice. Regice from Legends Awakened was a great card that actually said discard 2 cards from your hand, although it was any 2 cards, it didn't just have to be a specific energy or something along those lines, and then your opponent had to switch their active, and in my Donphan Prime deck, I really did enjoy using Regice. It was a great card. And the thing is that this is a good ability. Now, if it was on a stage 2, it wouldn't be a good ability. And if it was on a stage 1, then it arguably would not be a good ability. But it isn't, ladies and gentlemen. It's on a basic Pokemon, which means that you grab it out of your deck, which can, of course, be very easily done with Brooklet Hill or Bridget. And it means that it is just a single space in your deck, which makes life easier. And then you've got this ability ready to use every turn. Now, you do still need to dedicate a bench space to it. Okay, fine, I get that. But you know what? This is a really good ability on a Pokemon that's just really easy to get into play. I mean, think about this with something like Glaceon GX. When Glaceon's in the active, your GXs and EXs don't have any abilities. Now, this is kind of annoying, but if you use Volcanion Prism Star here, you can just move their Glaceon to the bench. Now, they do have a choice of which Pokemon to put in the active, but unless they've also got a Glaceon GX waiting on the bench to come into the active, then you can guarantee here that Glaceon goes away and you get access to your abilities, which of course is really quite handy because, you know, something like a Volcanion deck, yeah, you're gonna need to get rid of that Glaceon, although having the water energy in your hand to discard, that might be a bit of an issue when you're playing a Volcanion deck. I mean, back in the day when I was using Regice, I was using it to get rid of Spiritomb. Spiritomb had an ability, not unlike the Trevenant we've all grown to love, that said when it was in the active, no item cards. Okay, well that's fine, because Regice moved it away, and again, maybe your opponent had a second Spiritomb on the bench. So they were then able to bring that Spiritomb active and regain the lock, but unless they did, It was brilliant. Although, just a quick side note here, remember that you cannot use this ability to move Wobbuffet, because Wobbuffet will be turning off the ability of Volcanion. And of course, we mentioned it a minute ago, but Trevenant in Expanded can be a pain. You can use this to get Trevenant out of the active, and that's really good. Although, to be perfectly honest, Trevenant's kind of been stopped in Expanded because Zoroark is ridiculously good. Although we do need to mention about this whole having to discard a water energy from your hand. If it was just discard an energy, it would be great. If it was discard a card, it would be amazing. Discarding a water energy, little bit of a pain. It does mean you should consider it in all water decks, or I suppose to be more specific, any deck playing water energy. And when we say water energy, of course, it's only basic water energy that counts in your hand. So something like a rainbow energy can be a water energy when it's attached, but when it's in your hand, it will not be a water energy. So this is going to really limit the decks in which you can actually use this. And in terms of having to do the discard, hey, Aqua Patch. Aqua Patch needs water energy in the discard to attach. This is actually a really good way to discard water energy to attach with Aqua Patch. In the same way that Volcanion EX's Steam Up is actually a really good way to discard energy, so that baby Volcanion, hey Nick, can then attach it using Power Heater. So, in a weird kind of way, this Volcanion's a little bit like the old Volcanion. Although there is an argument that Wake is a better way to discard water energy. Wake is a supporter I did a video on a little while ago. I'll pop a link in the description. But long story short, discard 2 water energy from your hand, search your deck for any 2 cards. That's a little bit better than this ability here. Sorry if that sounds mean. Now there is an attack on Volcanion Prism Star. It's not as good as the ability. Free water energy, 100 damage, plus 20 to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. As an attack, it's not bad. For free water energy, I start having real doubts about whether this is actually good enough to see any real play. Now, it is a basic Pokemon, and it is a water Pokemon, so you can accelerate energy here using either Max Elixir or Aqua Patch, and that's really cool. But free water energy is still a lot. Now, 100 damage is pretty nice. It means you will KO anything that's weak, especially with a choice band, because then with weakness you're doing 260, which really is more than Pokemon have at the moment. But the problem is you're not hitting any key numbers. I mean, even if you add a Professor Kukui here to go up to 120, you're not hitting 130, which is a key number for many Pokemon. Think the Greninja from Breakpoint, think Mewtwo from Evolutions. And you get to do 20 to all of the bench Pokemon, which is really good. But that's not as good as Tapu Koko, that does it for just a double colourless energy, which is 1 energy attachment, and has free retreat as well. This is a good attack, but not for free energy. And the fact is that a lot of the time you're going to be better off just playing something like Caldeo from Shining Legends, which is again a non-GX Pokemon, and again can take some big KOs, but it does it for 2 energy rather than 3, and generally is going to hit a bit more damage. I want to like this attack, but I think the attack cost is just too gosh darned expensive. But then we get down to it, and you know what? The ability is awesome. And the fact that the ability is on a basic Pokemon is awesome. And it is great for getting around some abilities like Glaceon GX and Trevenant. And we've had abilities like this in the past, Pokemon that when active are annoying for you. And we'll have more of them in the future. This is a fairly common type of ability to have. It's going to come back round again. It should see a fair amount of play, but the fact that you can only really play it in water decks does hamper it quite a bit. So I'm going to give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear what you think about this card. I always want to hear what you think about these cards. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! but be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, maybe even demand that I make a particular video of your choosing, you can do so over at patreon.com/PTCGRadio, and do check out my video game channel Wassy Plays. That's where video game related fun happens. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.